there were a place you could go that would lower your stress in a way we can objectively measure? What if there were an activity you could do that would decrease your susceptibility to poor mental health while increasing your creativity, connection, and resilience? You'd be all about it, right? Well, what if I told you there is? That it's free. And that actually when we're stressed out and really need it, it's probably the first thing we cut from the schedule. I'm talking about play, and more specifically, nature play. And I'm going to tell you why you, an adult human, should be prioritising it. I've had the immense privilege to use play in my work with children and young people as they navigate serious illness and grief. I've walked hospital halls and nature trails with tiny humans facing monstrous battles, and with the people who love them as they say goodbye and learn to live and love without that human beside them. In recent years, I've been speaking with the loved ones left behind about their experience in the paediatric palliative care sector. And if I had to take these stories and pull together just one common thread, I think it would be this. Our experience on this planet matters. Joy matters. My experience with these families has shown me the unending potential of the human spirit. And it's what's made me so passionate about every one of us having the tools to live our best lives, however long they're going to be. And that's why I want to share with you today this everyday thing that we could all be doing to refill our reserves for times of famine and to be all we can be in times of feast. Nature play. We associate play with children. Recreation might be a term that more adults are comfortable with, but recreation has been imbued with these adult connotations. It's a world where the things that bring us joy are only permissible if they also tick something off the list. We play soccer because we love it, and we need the exercise. We make fancy birthday cakes because we enjoy getting creative, and it needs to be done. But play is just joy for joy's sake. And if you only remember 2 words today, let it be these. Joy matters. Recently, inspired by my time working on camp programs, I started a nature play group for little humans. We create, we connect, we play, and usually we get muddy. It's beautiful. And very quickly, parents started saying things to me about their children's emotional growth from the sessions. Things like, my son, he's different here. I wish my husband could see him like this. But what really surprised me was that parents were also saying things about their experience at the nature play group. Over and over, I kept hearing the phrase, this is the highlight of my week. So the researcher in me had to dig a bit deeper. And when I asked these parents what it was that was such a highlight for them, I heard things like this. It slows me down, helps me breathe, and fills my cup. Now, that's not something you hear from parents about taking their kid to dance class. There's something going on here. This regular time to play and connect in nature is having an impact. I want to borrow a principle from positive psychology and talk about our mental health as a continuum, from -10 to +10. Where -10 might be really struggling, maybe struggling to get out of bed in the morning. 0 is doing fine, we're surviving. But +10 is thriving, living our best lives. Have a think where you might fall on that continuum today. Now, the whole range is part of the human experience, and it's a valuable life skill to be able to sit with discomfort and grief. But it's also a valuable skill to have some tools in our belt that can move us up that scale towards a sense of fulfilling our potential. And when we look at the research, there are a number of factors at play in nature play that do just that. Firstly, play invokes flow. a psychological state where we lose sense of time and we're fully immersed in our activity. Have you ever had the experience where you look up at the clock and go, how did it get so late? Chances are you're in a state of flow. Notice what you're doing when that happens, because being in a state of flow is restorative for our mental health. Play also promotes creativity through a lack of constraint. In play, we put together the pieces in new ways just to see what happens. In play, we take chances that we wouldn't take in serious settings. So play, good for us. But why should we be doing it in nature? The research shows that a sense of connection to nature lowers your susceptibility to mental health issues. Just being around green space decreases how stressed we feel, and we can physically see this effect through lowered levels of cortisol, the stress hormone. We also know that exposure to dirt builds your microbiome, affectionately known as the second brain in your gut. And that in my studies, this didn't just make them less impacted by stress, but actually mirrored the effects of being on antidepressants. Now, I'm not advocating that anyone throw away their medication, but what a remarkable tool that we all have access to that can move us up that scale wherever we're starting from. Nature play also opens the door for positive emotions. Joy is the obvious one, but there are a lot of others. Looking up at incredulous creations of nature invokes a feeling of awe. Think about the last time you looked up at the night sky and contemplated the infinite universe that we're part of. The research shows that these feelings of awe make us more satisfied with life, less influenced by weak arguments, more humble, more generous, and make us feel more connected to humanity. Isn't that worth stepping outside for? So the evidence is stacking up about nature play, but I bet you're curious about what adults playing in nature would actually look like. What I'm proposing is this. The next time someone asks, where should we meet? Nominate nature. Swap your next coffee catch-up for a nature date, but you can still bring the coffee. And then follow your gut. Our emotions have physical connections to our bodies. Our bodies know the sensory input that they need to get to a regulated state. So listen to your body as to what that might be for you. If you'd like something more concrete to get started, I'd like to propose this little mnemonic device. Make something, do something, or do nothing. Make something is about getting creative. You might already have a particular art form that brings you joy. Do that in nature with no rules or editing. You might like to get creative with what you find around you and give yourself a prompt to get started. Make something tiny, something useful, something beautiful. Do something is about an activity. I bet you still remember if you're more a truth or a dare type. And can anyone really here tiger it without jolting into action? Maybe moving to feel good for you looks like dancing, stretching, climbing a tree. Do something is about activity and action, the antecedent to the final prompt. Do nothing is about noticing the world, your body, and your emotions. I'm going to invite you to do nothing with me now. I want you to look at this tree, like one you might spot on your walk to the bus each morning. And I want you to imagine that on this occasion, you've taken a moment to pause underneath it. And I want you to close your eyes and imagine yourself there now. Come on, I'm doing it. Underneath that tree, can you hear the leaves rustling overhead? Can you feel the earth beneath you, solid and strong? Can you feel the cool, crisp air on your skin? Now take a breath in and out, and notice where in your body that breath moves. And now I invite you to open your eyes. How'd that feel? We were noticing imaginary senses then and tapping into mindfulness, but it's easy to see, right, how that just happens when you're actually under that tree with the sun filtering through the canopy and the birdsong in the distance. So my idea is as weird and as simple as that. Grown-ups going into nature to play, to exist just for joy. This idea has applications for peer support groups and for the way that governments design our public spaces. But for the people with me now, Now that I've bombarded you with the stats on why it's so good for you, I invite you to forget the shoulds and just do it for the joy. Because there's a difference between doing something because a should is pushing at your back and doing it because your heart is pulling you towards it. So explore your curiosity and jump in. Send an invite as soon as I walk off this stage. Who's going with you on your first nature date? You'll experience firsthand what the research and the mums from my bush kindy tell us, that our mental health benefits in so many ways from regular nature play. And if you want to think about those benefits to motivate you, then please do. But I'd really encourage you to also give yourself permission to do things just for joy, because your experience on this planet matters. Because you matter. Because joy matters.